Welcome to another very interesting historical fact about Kathak in the 20-30 years when it became national. Although the gurus helped revive it and the others, followers who set up institutions before independence furthered the form, it was these stars and these gurus and teachers from the 60s to the 90s that really gave it a pan-global world profile. So who are these people? Who are these giants? Who are these stars whom we celebrate and we remember? Today, all of us will go on this journey and I will share with you this very interesting facet of our history in Kathak. Once the first phase of knowing Kathak as a form was over, new talents who were exclusively trained in the form came center stage. They were dancers who focused not only on one form and made the form shine. They came from different backgrounds and tutelage, cities and villages, but all aimed at popularizing this ancient form that had fallen on bad days due to long neglect and lack of support under long colonial rule. Those who helped set Kathak seriously as a form to be reckoned with, learnt and performed are Damayanti Joshi, Maya Rao, the Ganganis, Birju Maharaj in the period 1960s to 1990s. Damayanti Joshi, 1928 to 2004, initially trained by Pandit Sitaram Prasad of the Jaipur Gharana, was the chosen protege of Madam Menaka, who adopted her as a daughter when she was 4. Damayanti toured with Menka's troupe in India and abroad. She trained with all the 3 brothers, Achan, Lachu and Shambhu Maharaj of Lucknow Gharana. Imbibing from both traditions, she was a successful solo artist. She danced and toured the world in Menka's troupe from time she was 5, and by 15 she had already performed at all major cities of Europe, plus also receiving a full education. Damayanti was a frail little 4-year-old when she was attracted to the sound of jingles. Her mother, Vatsala Joshi, was an artist, but the orthodox atmosphere in her family did not allow her to pursue her interest in music. But she used to sneak out and learn music from Sharda Bhate, who taught the harmonium. Her early marriage and early widowhood put an end to her dreams. After the death of her father, her family abandoned her to fend for herself and her child. Vatsala began to go out to give tuitions in embroidery and tailoring. Damayanti was left in the care of neighbors. Early in the life of Damayanti, learned to be on her own. A child in the neighborhood was learning dance from Pandit Sitaram Prasad. As soon as she heard the sounds of jingles, Damayanti would run to the house, stand outside and watch. Pandit Sitaram Prasad was associated with dancer Menaka at this time. Menaka had lost a child 10 days after birth and was keen to adopt a girl to whom she could pass on her creative ambitions. After much persuasion, Vatsala agreed to make Menaka Damayanti's guardian. She refused to give the child in formal adoption, saying, "Let us share this child, let her have 2 mothers." Menaka agreed. Like child Krishna, Damayanti too had 2 mothers. Damayanti was a frail child. As Menaka brought in Damayanti, Menka's husband, Colonel Sokhi, remarked, "Why have you taken this girl? She is so weak. How is she going to dance? Why then have you to become a doctor?" she retorted. A strict regimen of eating, exercise and education began for Damayanti. In 1936, Damayanti went with Menaka on her performance trip abroad. Unfortunately, Menaka did not live long enough to nourish Damayanti's dancing career. But growing up with her, Damayanti met many different artists and scholars, and her perspective on dance and life was shaped with great care by Menaka. After Menaka's death, Vatsala and Damayanti began living in a one-room apartment in Dadar, which became their private fort. With the death of her mentor, Menaka, who initiated her into life of performing artists, began days of struggle for Damayanti and her mother. Damayanti was performing, learning, and studying in college. Colonel Sokhi was supporting her education, but performing artists were not held in great esteem at this time, and Damayanti and her mother were two women on their own. With the daughter determined to establish herself as a dancer, Damayanti's mother Vatsala became her armor in dealing with the world and the vagaries of life of a performing artist. Pioneering artists like Damayanti Joshi and others from non-performing families had brought Kathak out of the court ambience. There was a great need for these artists to divest Kathak of all the elements associated with the court. Damayanti's entire dancing career, one can say, was centered on this concern to make Kathak a dance performed outside the court. Certain exaggerated gestures like biting the lips or raising the eyebrows unnecessarily were totally avoided by Damayanti. She never did bhav sitting down, for it has an association with the court or the private dancing halls. She liked to do her bhav standing. Nor did she ever use sarangi as an accompaniment, for it was traditionally associated with the court and private hall dancers. The traditional court dancer used to wear churidar pajamas with an angarkha and a cap. Damayanti wore such a costume occasionally, but she mostly wore saris and ghagras, and the sari became her main costume later. The ghagra she wore was similar to the ones worn by women in miniature paintings, which allowed easy circling movements. Damayanti began to learn Kathak from Pandit Sita Ram Prasad initially, who belonged to the Lucknow Gharana. Later she learned from Lachu Maharaj, the legendary Kathak guru, who was also belonged to the Lucknow Gharana. In course of time, she learned from all three brothers, Achan Maharaj, Lachu Maharaj and Shambhu Maharaj. She also learned from Gauri Shankar, a Jaipur Gharana guru, who had been with the Menka Indian Ballet. Many other gurus willingly came home to teach her and compose for her. She collected from different sources a variety of different aspects of dance and music to blend them and evolve a Kathak style of her own. Damayanti was famous for both her layakari, or the rhythmic aspect, and bhav, or expression of moods. Lachu Maharaj was famous for his bhav, and Damayanti learned that aspect from him too. The knowledge of layakari she imbibed from Bhola Shrestha, who, despite his initial resistance, taught her generously later. He was not a dancer, and so while he played the complicated patterns on the tabla, Damayanti reproduced them in her footwork and translated them into the idiom of dance. Damayanti was probably the only dancer of her time who ventured into such complicated mathematical calculations of rhythm. She could dance with ease in the Panchajati Tala, or 5 different rhythmic combinations. She was famous for her compositions Sur Sundari and Ashtanayikas. Damayanti spoke constantly about the autobiography that she was planning to write. Had she written it, it would have been recreated an entire era of dance and dancer who dared to dance on stage when they were expected to stay at home. The only documentary done on her in recent years is by Ashish Kokhar for Ford Foundation. Maya Rao, 1928 to 2014, was born in Bangalore to Hatangadi Sanjeeva Rao and Subhadra Bai in a family consisting of 3 sons and 3 daughters. In 1945, Maya Rao ji finished schooling and joined Maharani's College, choosing history, economics and logic as her subjects. Although she had a flair for dancing, Maya Rao was born and brought up in an orthodox middle-class Saraswat Brahmin family, where elders did not permit their daughters to learn dancing. When she was 12 years old, she watched Uday Shankar perform with his large troupe of musicians and dancers at the BRV Theatre in Bangalore, and this performance left an indelible impression in her young mind. Initially, she was taught Hindustani classical music, vocal and instrument Dilruba from Rama Rao. Impressed himself with Uday Shankar's troupe, her father permitted Maya Rao to take up dancing. I started dancing, she says, when dance was taboo, and to the progress we see in dance scenario today, I feel proud to be part of this evolution, where dance is seen as an important component of modern India and has percolated down to every household, recalls Maya Rao. Maya ji first learnt Kathak from Sohan Lal for 2 years from 1942. Sohan Lal was then based in Bangalore with Ram Gopal's group. In 1951, Maya went to Jaipur to continue with her Kathak dance, also teaching at the Maharani Gayatri Devi School for 2 years. In 1953, she went to Colombo as suggested by her brother Manohar, who knew Chitrasena and learnt Kandyan dance. In October 1954, she attended an interview in Lucknow for dance scholarship and was selected to study Kathak at the Bharatiya Kala Kendra in Delhi under the Doye Shambhu Maharaj, the nephew of Maharaja Bindadin, who joined as its first guru in January 1955. Maya Rao was his first student in Delhi and spent 4 memorable years training under him. She was the first lady from India to be selected by the Government of India for the Soviet Union USSR Cultural Scholarship in choreography. Since the training was not conducted in English, Maya Rao had to devote about 6 months of the training period in learning Russian. Every day, 2 hours were allotted for Russian language class and 2 hours for ballet dance training. After 3 years in Russia, Maya Rao returned to India in January 1964, but she had no assignments in Delhi for nearly 3 months since the Department of Choreography at Bharatiya Kala Kendra did not materialize. That was when Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay, Vice Chairperson of Sangeet Natak Academy, motivated Maya Rao to start an institution for choreography in Delhi. On August 17, 1964, the Natya Institute of Choreography was launched in Delhi with Maya Rao at its helm under the aegis of the Bharati Natya Sangh. In December 1964, she married musician Nataraja, popularly called Nattu Mama. In 1987, at the behest of former Chief Minister Ramakrishna Hegde, the Natya Institute of Kathak and Choreography (NIKC) was established in Bangalore with the assistance of the Government of Karnataka. Since its inception, the NIKC has been providing a forum for dance education in India. Its uniqueness lies in using traditional dance methodology alongside modern pedagogy techniques, keeping in pace with the global trends in dance education. NIKC is India's first and only college offering a 3-year BA degree in choreography affiliated to Bangalore University. As the chairperson of Karnataka State Sangeet Nritya Academy, Maya Rao initiated National Performing Arts Festival at Heritage Monuments, Somnathpura in 1988, Pattadakal in 1989, Helebid in 1990. In publications and archiving, Guru Maya Rao created syllabi and textbooks for Karnataka Secondary Education Board's Kathak examination. NICS's literary houses more than 1,000 rare books on performing and fine arts. There is an audio-visual collection of choreographies. Digitization of archival dance photographs spans the last 7 decades. Maya Rao has conducted extensive research on Kathak, Ras and Bhagavata traditions, Yakshagan and other operatic dance theatres, the Natya Shastra, world history of dance, folk and ritualistic forms. She has written numerous articles on dance and choreography for several leading regional, national and international publications. Her lecture demonstrations on choreography, dance and its history have been put together in the form of a DVD titled Maya to Matter. Her only official biography has been written by Ashish Khokar and published by Eka Bios. Pandit Sundarlal Gangani was a very humble, very loving and caring person. As a guru, he was always a big heart and he gave lot generously. A guru is supposed to be like that, wanting to give something for the betterment of society, students and national culture as a whole. Schooled only up to class 4, Guru Sundarlal would not be considered educated in the conventional sense. But he was a person of very high merit. His compositions suggested a very scholarly vision. What he wrote went beyond expectations. He settled in Baroda in 1951, began teaching at MS University, Baroda at the invitation of Mohan Khokar along with his brother Kundan Lal. They were the first persons to be employed in Kathak in the university. Guru Sundarlal gave a new dimension to Kathak with writing lyrics on different and unexplored themes such as Kathak in Rashi, Kathak in grammar and Kathak in mathematics. The Rashis or sun signs of famous characters from the Ramayana were woven into kavits. It's quite a challenge to create such compositions in rhythm and then to set to dance to them. He made his creations so interesting they appealed to all, the learned as well as the ordinary people. Similarly, he played with the alphabet and grammar, creating kavits starting with each letter of the ka, barakhari to invoke the images of Krishna's life, or using the letters ra, ra, ri, etc., or some other section of the alphabet. And then there were the numbers. He brought out the different nature of the numbers and created compositions suiting each one. Another unique composition was the Ashtanaika, in which the Naikas are described succinctly in just one line each. Pandit Harish and Jagdish Gangani are the sons of legendary traditional Kathak dancer of Jaipur Gharana, Sundarlal Gangani, who lived from 1929 to 2013, under whom they trained in Kathak from childhood and are carrying forward their father's legacy as professors of the dance department, MS universities. Since Jagdish has been fortunate to learn directly under his father, today he is a repository of many rare compositions of the Jaipur Gharana. In understanding the Godarth or profound inner meanings of lyrics, his guru constantly went beyond the obvious and physical to reach greater realizations, whether these related to science, geometry or philosophy. In a world of glitz, one is tempted to feel that the genius of Guru Sundarlal Gangani did not quite get its due recognition, but his son points out the difference between being attached to the university and to an institution like the Kathak Kendra. Since the latter is run on the lines of Guru Shishya Parampara, the gurus get remembered each time the students perform, whereas a university is more academic and degree oriented. While Sundarlal molded in his 39 years at the university, from where he retired as a reader in 1989, a large number of students who perform across the world, perhaps the credit went more to the university than the maestro. Jagdish Gangani has brought out an audio compilation of his father's rachanas. Pandit Birju Maharaj was born on 4th February 1938 in Lucknow. Initially, his name was Dukharan, which was later changed to Brij Mohan, a synonym of Krishna. Brij Mohan Nath Mishra was shortened to Birju, which remains his name he is fondly known by even today. Surrounded by musical atmosphere, his inborn talent surfaced at the early age of 3 years, when he would playfully sit in his father's lap and recite the Hais and Tukras, oblivious of the fact that they were complete pieces. The sound of the music and dance emanating from the Talim Khana classroom was enough inspiration for the young Birju to devote himself wholeheartedly to dance. Though he was too young to receive formal training, he would watch carefully when his father taught his disciples. Achan Maharaj recognized his talent and took him under his guidance. Achan Maharaj spent most of his time practicing his art and teaching his students, and Birju Maharaj, still a small child, imbibed a great deal by observing. Recognizing the inborn talent of his son, Achan Maharaj gave him the opportunity of performing with him at an early age of 12. His father performed at musical conferences all over India, and by the age of 7, Birju Maharaj had accompanied him to Kanpur, Allahabad, Gorakhpur, Jaunpur, Dehradun, and even far off places like Madhubani, Kolkata or Mumbai. He got the opportunity to share the platform with his illustrious father, who allowed him to present a few pieces before he himself came on stage. Achan Maharaj shifted to Delhi to teach at Sangeet Bharati. Birju Maharaj ji, then 8 years old, enthusiastically imbibed all activities at the center. He became proficient at dancing, singing and playing the tabla. Achan Maharaj ji shifted back to Lucknow with the family due to the communal riots which raged all over the country during the pre-independence years. Even though Achan Maharaj passed away when Birju Maharaj was 9 years old, he left an indelible mark on him. Birju Maharaj then came under the guidance of his uncle Shambhu Maharaj. The following years were full of struggle and household goods were sold to make ends meet. He spent about 10 months in Mumbai learning from his other uncle Lachu Maharaj. At the young age of 13, he was invited to join Sangeet Bharati in Delhi to teach Kathak. Soon, he established himself as a good dancer and a dedicated teacher. Birju Maharaj's mother, Ammaji, lived at the ancestral house in Lucknow. As was the custom of the times, the women stayed in parda and had nothing whatsoever to do with dance. Since the sounds of music and dance were part of her surroundings, Amma remembered a surprising number of musical compositions of those times. Coaxed by her son, she sometimes came forward with uncommon and previously unheard lyrics, singing them coyly. In this way, Birju came in possession of some invaluable composition and got glimpses of his childhood through his mother's eyes. Pandit Birju Maharaj has given a new dimension to Kathak by experimenting with his technique in the application of dance dramas, which has today become a very successful medium for mass propagation. His bold and intellectual compositions in traditional themes are brilliant, whereas his contemporary works are also refreshing in concept, crisp and entertaining. In the early days, he choreographed interesting pieces like Makhan Chori, Phag Bahar, etc. In the 70s, full-length mythological and historical dance dramas were the norm. Some of them were Katha Raghunath Ki, Krishnanayan, Roopmati Baz Bahadur, Mughal themes depicted with Darbar-e-Salami, Shahi Mehfil, etc. In the 90s, sorry. In the 1980s, some excellent abstract and purely rhythmic compositions were made. Laya Parikrama, Naad Gunjan, Ghungru Sangeet. The trend has continued. Humorous ones like Samachar Darpan, File Katha, and sensitive ones like Anamaya were appreciated for their unusual ideas. The list is endless as he spends every day in creating something new and giving shape to another new idea. Pandit Birju Maharaj is a superb drummer, playing nearly all drums with ease and precision. He is especially fond of playing the tabla and naal. He can play all string instruments, sitar, saro, the violins, sarangi with ease, though he never underwent any formal training. He is a sensitive poet, writing modern poetry as well as songs, dance compositions, thumris, etc. He is a singer par excellence, having command over thumri, dadra, bhajan and ghazal. With his in-depth understanding of laya, beat, he finds it easy to compose new pieces. He is fond of creating tihai, especially ginti ki tihai. A master storyteller, he interlaces his performances with incidents from his life, day-to-day incidents narrated with realistic imitations and vivid descriptions to captivate the audience. Pandit Birju Maharaj has directed, composed music and sung for 2 classical dance sequences in the film Shatranj Ke Khiladi, The Chess Players, directed by Satyajit Ray. He directed and composed a music piece for the film Dil To Pagal Hai as a Jugalbandi featuring Madhuri Dixit. In Gaddar, he choreographed a group dance. In Gadar, he choreographed a group dance. He choreographed, composed music and was the male lead singer for the song Kahe Chhed Mohe in the film Devdas, featuring Shah Rukh Khan, again Madhuri Dixit. His disciples have performed as the accompanying artists for these dance sequences, along with the film personalities. He won National Award for Best Choreography 2013 for choreographing the song Unnai Kanadun Nanu, which features Kamala Hassan performing Kathak in his multilingual film Viswarupam.
Thank you.